Hi there, folks. I'm meteorologist Anthony J. here, part of America's Weather streaming channel, and updating everyone on an impending hurricane landfall, we think, by Monday morning here in the U.S. from Beryl. Right now, it's actually a tropical storm, but it is forecast to become a hurricane again, and here it is as of early to mid-afternoon on Saturday. It's actually weakened down to a tropical storm. This is where it is now, and its last rendezvous was with the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. It made landfall there during the night Thursday, not far from Cozumel and Playa del Carmen, and moved through that area. It was weakening as it did so, and the storm was over land for about 12 hours. It encountered more wind shear in the atmosphere and dry air in the atmosphere as it came across here. So that's why it's so much weaker than it was earlier in the week when it was a Category 5 hurricane. So it has come down quite a bit. Fortunately, in Mexico, it was weakening as it moved across Thursday night. And while, of course, there was damage, it was not nearly as devastating as it could have been. But here's the storm. Now, as of right now, it weakened. It's starting to try to reorganize and regroup, but it doesn't look like, at least right now, that it's strengthening very much. So that's good, but it's still got some time to go because right now it's tracking west-northwest and almost northwest. And so eventually it's going to make land. They can't miss land at this point. Fortunately, it's not strengthening rapidly right now, but that's the main sticking point of the forecast is how strong is this going to get when it gets to Texas. Now, here's the Hurricane Center's forecast path. Now, a couple days ago, the models were going more into Mexico and less towards Texas, but now we know that it's going to head towards Texas. All the models are showing that. And in the pink, that's a hurricane watch. There's tropical storm warnings on up for the coast. And here's the path right now about where it is by Sunday at 7 o'clock. It is sitting off of the coast, just off of South Padre, maybe by about 50 miles. But again, this is a cone of uncertainty. It could be closer or even farther offshore, but it looks like the most likely part of landfall, and that's to happen around early Monday morning, maybe around dawn, it looks like. And the middle part of the Texas coast or the upper coast seems like the most likely point, but it could be anywhere really in this pink area. So the Hurricane Center, of course, they are estimating the winds right now at 60 miles per hour, moving west-northwest at 12. It was 160 several days ago. So it went down a lot. It's good news with this. There's actually quite a bit of good news with this storm, is that it's not going to reach the intensity that it had several days ago. So it's not going to be a Category 5. We don't think it's going to be a 4 or probably not even a 3. But I'll get to that part in a second. Here's some of the damage pics that occurred from the storm. This were taken on Friday. This is in Cozumel. And you see, lots of damage. Trees and power lines just snapped and littering the streets all across this area. And so, the hurricane force winds that did. Now, here's some comments here. Well, I heard there was very minimal damage in Cozumel. The damage, from what I've heard, has been this kind of damage. Not a lot of structures necessarily destroyed, but a lot of tree damage and all of that kind of thing. So they're going to be cleaning that up. Before that, the storm hit Jamaica in the middle of the week. Let me show you some video here that's rather dramatic from people as the storm. This looks like it was near where the eye came ashore earlier in the week. And you can see just a pandemonium. And the residents, or whoever's down here, they are experiencing what looks like near the full brunt of the storm in Jamaica. And that hits southwestern Jamaica the hardest. The capital there in Jamaica, Kingston, was largely spared a lot of major damage. It was more of the damage like we saw in Cozumel. But definitely a disaster area, parts of that island nation. Now, getting to what I was saying next about the intensity of this storm. We're a little concerned because, remember, don't want to bring back memories of Harvey, but that storm was down here in the same area in 2017. It was nothing, basically, when it came off the Yucatan. And by the time it hit Texas, it was a Category 4 storm. And this storm is actually a little stronger than Harvey was in this position. But things are a little different now. There's more wind shear, the upper level winds aloft for the storm are not as conducive as they were with Hurricane Harvey, although they may get more conducive as the storm nears the coast. So that's one thing we're a little concerned about. The official forecast has us getting up to about a Category 1, 80 to 90 miles per hour when it hits the coast on Monday morning. But that is subject to change. So that would be a Category 1, but it could easily get up to Category 2, which would be 96 miles an hour. It doesn't look like it's likely to get much higher than that, but we have to watch this very, very carefully. The waters are super warm here, and the Hurricane Center, you can see they're mentioning the usual effects, flash and urban flooding, storm surge along the coast. That's the big one, and wherever the eye hits the coast is who will see the worst. Now, here is some models here, some of the hurricane forecast models. This is one, this is another one. We're going to focus on this model, the HWRF, which tends to be pretty accurate. And I'm going to put this in motion here. This is where it has a storm at about 7 a.m. Central Time Sunday morning off the coast here, well east of Padre Island. That's at 7 a.m. So I'll advance this every 3 hours, and it has the storm. Let me back up here. Yeah, this is the storm at 1 o'clock. It's about due east of South Padre Island in the afternoon. But you could also see, while it's well offshore, there's these rain bands on the coast. So there could be thunderstorms with potential tornadoes happening tomorrow. Now as early as maybe Sunday, sometime in the morning and the afternoon, if those rain bands move on shore. So keep that in mind. While the eye of the storm should stay offshore as I advance this, this is now 7 p.m. It could be closer, but most likely it looks like it's going to follow something similar to this and kind of keep moving northwest, almost north. And now by Monday morning, this is 4 a.m. Central Time. It has the eye of the storm, and you see it's strengthening. It has a closed eye, a Hurricane Beryl, right on the coast there. Corpus Christi is right about here. Rockport is right about here. And you've got some towns here, Matagorda and Port Lavaca, that are going to be in the right quadrant of the storm. So the folks down here, they know about hurricanes, so I'm sure they're making all the preparations they need. As far as the intensity, this would be a Category 2. It wouldn't take much to bring it to a 3. Now, that's a major hurricane. So if a major hurricane hits here, you're going to have major damage, major surge. So we're watching for that possibility. Right now, the official forecast is for it to be a kind of a high-end Category 1, maybe a Category 2 by the time it gets there. Here's another perspective to show the storm coming in, the different model, the Euro model. Again, it's very similar in how it brings the track of the storm. This is 10 o'clock Sunday evening. Most of the storm is offshore. But as we go through time here, 1 a.m., 4 a.m., it's nearing the coast, and around the same time it has it coming in. It's 7 a.m. So it's east of Corpus, but it could be closer. But this model shows it between Corpus and about Freeport, Lake Jackson, Texas. So you're in it there in Matagorda, Port Lavaca, anywhere around this area here, Matagorda Bay, anywhere in these regions, you're in the most danger zone. So there's going to be storm surge as this comes in. So anyone who's in this zone here, on the right side of the eye, or in the eye, will get a high storm surge. And the stronger the storm, the higher the surge. There'll be lower surges down here on the coast, maybe up to about 3 to 4 feet or so, say in South Padre. And whoever gets hit with that right quadrant, the storm surge could be as high as around 7 to 9 feet. The way it looks now. It could even get a little higher if the storm goes up to Category 3. Then we're talking higher surge. But I would say prepare for near a 10-foot surge in this area here. Potentially a little higher. That's high enough. So there'll probably be some evacuations if there aren't already down in parts of these areas. So we have to be aware of that. The fortunate thing, though, with this is that it does not appear as if it's going to get near the intensity it was before, because then we'd be talking about a major, disaster down here with, some areas completely wiped out from a Category 4 or 5 or even a 3 could get close. But here's the rainfall map. The forecast rain, again, remember Harvey, 4 feet of rain near Houston. This is only going to be, it's not going to be that much because the storm is moving quickly. So the total rainfall that the model is showing through 1 o'clock Tuesday, when the storm should be out of here, is only getting up to about 4 to 8 inches, let's say, in some of the higher zones here. That's a lot of rain, but for Texas, we can handle that. And another perspective on the rainfall shows this zone, we'll call this 4 to 8, 4 to 10 inches of rain from the coast on up. So that includes you there in Victoria, Houston, and again, this is an estimate. You can get higher amounts here, but Houston, 4 to 8 inches of rain, a good bet. And places farther inland. Dallas could get into some of the heavier rain later on Monday into Tuesday, and then the storm is going to weaken by that point. Hurricane watches, there you see them here in the pink. That includes Galveston, by the way, under hurricane watch and a storm surge watch. And another perspective of this, I'll show you here. This is the future path of the storm overlaid with the watches or warnings here. These hurricane watches are going to go to warnings very soon, if not by the time you see this. So farther south, this is a tropical storm warning for you there in South Padre, all along Padre Island, but they don't have a hurricane watch. So unless that changes, you'll be in better shape there. We're watching it real close. Farther up the coast, Freeport is about up in here. Galveston, you're technically outside of the cone, but as we know, effects will be well to the right of the cone. If it does a rightward jog more and comes up like this, you could get in the right center of the eye wall in Galveston and Houston too, right here. You are in the cone. Right now, I think for Houston, you'll have deteriorating conditions late Sunday night. Nothing Sunday, although we're getting storms now, not related to the storm, cooling us off here. But the strong winds and the potential for tornadoes and torrential rain from the hurricane itself will arrive overnight Sunday and especially really on Monday. If we follow the path of this, you'll see that the storm keeps moving right along. So here it is about 5 a.m. near or just off the coast, and then 5 p.m. on Monday. It keeps it moving here. So it's west of Houston. And then by 5 a.m. on Tuesday, it's already, starting to accelerate and is out of Texas by 5 a.m. on Tuesday. So the storm is going to be hauling along. It's not going to sit for long, so we're not going to see 30, 40 inches of rain. We might see near a foot of rain in some cases, and again, generally about 4 to 8 inches. So the bottom line with this storm is hurricane conditions are going to be likely here anywhere in this zone, and conditions will slowly go downhill later Sunday. Watch for tornadoes, especially in extreme southern Texas on Sunday, and then Sunday night and Monday, all this zone, you will have to deal with this. So definitely I would say stock up on batteries. And all the drill. Keep listening to all the alerts of all the preparations you need to make, as you'll likely lose power in these areas. Stock up on water, non-perishable foods, especially areas along the immediate coast. Areas inland of the coast, the biggest threat is going to be, I think, the tornadoes, power outages, locally strong wind gusts, that could knock down trees, power lines. If they're above ground, they could cause debris to go all across. Don't go outside, because debris from trees, from whatever, roof shingles, could be anything, will be airborne. So it's not a good idea to be outside during Monday as the storm is coming in. And really, for the folks on the coast here, definitely, if you haven't completed those preparations, do it, because that's the danger zone down here, like I mentioned, around Matagorda, Port Lavaca, and even Corpus. If the storm doesn't curve enough, it could come right over you. Rockport, same thing. So we're hoping it moves to the right of you. If it does, then it won't be too bad there for you in Corpus. But you can find us on America's Weather streaming channel. We're issuing updates throughout the weekend here. That's us on X, on Twitter here. We are also on Facebook. This is our main Facebook page. We'll be updating you throughout the weekend, through Monday, as long as the storm is still with us. And on YouTube as well, you can find us, the video updates being posted there. And our app, Weather Valet, just debuted this spring, and we're really excited about that. So check that out as well. All right, everybody be safe. We'll have more updates coming up. Stay cool, and have a great weekend.